If you want the absolute perfect display for your Mac, money is no object. You want the highest resolution, the largest screen and the perfect pixel density, it's the Pro Display XDR. Problem is, it's $5,000, which is an absurd amount of money. Yeah, I still bought one and use it as my main monitor. However, I have tried an absolute ton of monitors and I wanted to cover a few different ones which I think are great for Mac users. I also want to make it very clear that I have bought each of these monitors with my own money. So I have spent my own hard-earned money here after doing a ton of research. So first up is the Studio Display. I feel like this is the default option, right? It's the perfect display for most Mac users in my opinion. It goes for $15.99, making it much cheaper than the Pro Display XDR that I just mentioned. However, that doesn't mean it is cheap. It's still a pricey monitor. But I genuinely feel like it's a fantastic monitor. I've had one since released and it's been absolutely solid. There are quite a few features that I think make it ideal for most Mac users. So it has one Thunderbolt cable for both power and data, making it very easy just to plug and play. So it works right out of the box. Perfect for anyone who just wants it to work. They don't really want to mess around with settings, trying to find the right cables or anything. It just works right out of the box. It has a 5K resolution at 27 inches. So 5K resolution isn't something you see in monitors at all really. It's very, very rare and Apple seem to be the only ones that really do it. It has a PPI, which is short for pixels per inch, of 218, which is the standard Apple seems to have set for their desktop monitors, as all of their monitors pretty much are a PPI of 218. That means text and UI elements will look sharp, which basically means, you know, if you have the monitor at an appropriate distance on your desk, it will look nice and sharp when you're looking at text or browsing or whatever you might be doing. It has built-in speakers which are actually surprisingly good. Now of course they're not going to match a proper set of desktop speakers, so I prefer to use desktop speakers, but if you need speakers for just watching the odd YouTube video or something, or just listening to a podcast or something, it's actually really good. It has a built-in webcam. It can also go up to 600 nits in brightness, which should be good enough for most people, but it is a standard IPS panel, which for some people might be an issue, especially with the prevalence of new technologies such as mini LED and OLED. I personally though don't really find an issue with it. There's also a built-in hub on the back which gives you 3 additional USB-C ports, and finally, the design of it is awesome. There is no doubt that this is a very good looking monitor. If you have the budget and you want a monitor specifically designed for Mac and only for your Mac, this really is the one I would recommend to most people. I think the plug and play nature especially just makes it so much easier for most people, being able to take out the box, put it on your desk, plug it in, know that it works right away and the colors look great. Yeah, it just makes it super easy to recommend. I also wanted to thank Anker for sponsoring this video. If you're like me and you like having chargers at your desk setup, or you need to charge multiple devices at the same time, Anker have some great solutions. They've just released an all new range of chargers, cables and docks called the Anker Prime range. First up is the Prime wall charger that is compact but still outputs 100 watts. It has 2 USB-C ports and 1 USB-A port, so you can charge 3 devices at the same time. There's the Prime USB-C cable, which is designed for high power charging with the ability to handle up to 240 watts. This is perfect for charging high power tech like laptops. There's 2 new desk chargers. The first one is able to output up to 200 watts and has 6 ports for charging many devices at once. The second one is able to output 250 watts. It has 6 ports, but it also has a screen to monitor how much power it's using, as well as a control dial to check each port and change power priority. And then finally, there's the Prime docking station, which is ideal for anyone looking to expand the connectivity of their Mac. It can charge at up to 160 watts, which is perfect for a beefy 16-inch MacBook Pro. It also has a bunch of different ports, including Ethernet, HDMI, USB-A, USB-C, and a headphone jack. All of these are ideal for anyone looking for multi-device charging as well as fast charging. So make sure to check them out. You can also use the code ANKERPRIME03 to get 15% off at checkout. Next up is a monitor for those who want a monitor that can sort of do a mix of everything. So if you want to use your monitor for gaming as well, so you have one monitor set up for gaming for a PS5 or PC, well, the MSI 321 URX is definitely my favorite option here, and I've actually already done a separate video on this, so make sure to check it out. It goes for $1,000, which does make it quite a bit cheaper than the Studio Display. There are some compromises though, but at the same time, it has some amazing features which you won't find on the Studio Display. It's a 32-inch 4K OLED monitor, OLED being the key feature here, which makes it incredible for gaming and watching content. Right now, there isn't much else that can really match the contrast and depth of OLED. However, OLED also means that it doesn't get as bright. So if you intend to use it in a brightly lit room, maybe have a lot of sunlight or lots of sort of overhead lighting or whatever, you might find it an issue. It has a 240 Hz refresh rate, which makes it incredible for PC gaming specifically, which is what I bought mine for. I primarily play Overwatch 2 on it. You can do a one cable setup with a Mac, but you will need to buy the cable separately. I'll leave a link to the one that I would recommend. I really like the thin bezels on this monitor as well, apart from the bottom chin. I think it's a fairly good looking monitor. The main compromise you'll make though is the sharpness. It's a 4K resolution at 32 inches, which means it has a PPI of 137, which is significantly lower compared to the studio display, which has a PPI of 218. So as you scale the monitor resolution within the max settings, you might not find it sharp enough, but I don't think most people will mind. I think having perfect scaling and sharpness is more for those who want to do design work or sort of a similar sort of work where you actually need it. I think the average user will not notice and won't even care. There's a great article from Django.com, I'm not sure how you say it, and there's a graphic in there showing the good and the bad zones for pixels per inch, and most monitors for retina sharpness other than Apple's own fall into the bad zone. Now, does that mean you should avoid them altogether? Not at all. It just means that they won't be as sharp looking as Apple's own monitors. For $1,000 though, I really do think this MSI display is incredible. It's perfect for those looking for a one monitor setup where they can use their Mac, a PC and a games console. If I was forced to only have one monitor that I could use with my Mac, my PC, my games console, I couldn't have multiple monitors, this is the one I would choose. What if you wanted to spend $500 or less? Maybe that's your budget. The great thing is, there is an absolute ton of choice and some great options for $500 or less. Of course, you are going to make some compromises on the sort of display tech, especially if you're looking for OLED or mini LED. You will not find anything like that for less than $500. But the main things I would recommend looking for are 4K resolution at 27 inches to 32 inches, preferably 27 inches for a better pixel per inch density, 144 Hz refresh rate or more, especially if you plan to use it for gaming. A USB-C port that can also offer a good charging output so you can have one cable setup, and of course pick a reputable brand. I'll leave links to the ones that I recommend. There's a few that I recommend, but one in particular which stands out for me is from MSI again. At the time of making this video, this monitor only goes for $369, yet it meets the sort of spec list requirements that I just mentioned. I'm in a fortunate position where I have the luxury of choice and budget, so my ultimate monitor right now is the Pro Display XDR. Does that mean you should go out and buy it though? No, not at all, because it is $5,000. But you know, if you have the budget, if you don't mind spending that sort of money, you're not going to find anything else really better than this. It's a 32-inch 6K resolution monitor, so there is pretty much nothing else on the market that can match this monitor. Like, I've not really seen anything else that is 6K resolution. It's mini LED, which does make it better than a standard IPS panel, but it isn't as good as OLED. However, it can get incredibly bright because it's mini LED. It can do 1000 nits of sustained brightness, and it can also do a peak brightness of 1600 nits, making it ideal for brightly lit rooms. What makes it special though is that it's calibrated to be very accurate, so it's specially designed for high-end video work, high-end photography work, where color is super important. This monitor is specifically designed for professional creators. It's not really designed for the average user. Otherwise, it wouldn't be priced at $5,000. Also, I'm not gonna lie, it does look incredible. The design is very unique and it has some of the thinnest bezels I've seen, not just on the top and sides, but all the way around. However, none of the monitors I mentioned I think are perfect. If I were to have sort of a list of dream requirements, my sort of dream monitor, what would that have? It would of course be 32 inches, it would be 6K resolution, just like the Pro Display XDR. It would be OLED. It would be amazing to see a 6K resolution OLED display. And it would of course have a high refresh rate, ideally 240 Hz. I'm basically just looking for an updated version of the Pro Display XDR. And of course it needs to be reasonably priced, because the Pro Display XDR, $5,000 is a lot of money, but when you compare it to other professional grade working monitors, which can go for like $15,000, $20,000, it's considered cheap. But of course, compared to consumer products, consumer monitors, it's very, very expensive. At the moment though, I don't think it's even possible for a 6K resolution 240 Hz monitor, because the sort of standard, the technology just isn't there to push that much data, because that is a crazy amount of data. Thunderbolt just can't handle that much data. So there we have it. Those are the best monitors that I think you can get for a Mac right now, but it can change very quickly. Even though I've made this video, what is it? It's August 2024. You know, in 6 months time or 12 months time, we could have a whole new range of monitors. So I will of course do an updated video. I'm also hoping that Apple update the Studio Display and Pro Display XDR later this year, maybe even next month. They usually do the Mac stuff, I think, on October, November. So yeah, I'm hoping maybe we see some updated displays. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and subscribe for more.